In the quiet heart of Uasin Gishu County in Kenya, a very chilling event occurred in the year 2019. This is a haunting story of a sadistic murder that left lasting scars that resonated throughout Uasin Gishu and the country at large. As we delve into this dark story, we will see how obsessive love and ultimate rejection led to the tragic end of a young, vibrant life. So brace yourself for the unsettling details of this case. This is the Crime Gist. My name is Damisa. Today's case takes us to a serene town, Moisbridge in Uasin Gishu County. Here, we find Emma and Mustafa, who are neighbors and acquaintances, and also the two main characters in today's tale. Emma Makinia Wanyotta was born on 16th January 1998. She was one of a set of identical twins. The twins had two elder brothers and an elder sister. They grew up in their family home in Moisbridge in Uasin Gishu County. Their dad would sadly pass on in the year 2004 when the twins were only 4 years old. He left Beatrice Luceno, his wife, with 5 kids to raise all alone. She did her best to fend for her kids, clothe them, and educate them. And this is why when Emma, one of the twins, grew up and wanted to join the beauty industry, her mom was very supportive, enrolling her into Vera Beauty College in the nearby Eldoret town. She aspired to make a mark in the beauty industry. Her days were filled with brushes, palettes, and the joy of learning. The town saw her as a promising talent destined to bring beauty to lives beyond the borders of Moisbridge. In September 2019, Emma Wanyotta was a vibrant 21-year-old. She was now a final year student at Vera Beauty College on an industrial attachment in a salon at Moisbridge Township. She only had a month to graduate from Vera Beauty College, and this attachment or internship was the only thing left between her and her graduation. She was described by friends and classmates as a very nice girl who loved and was loved by kids. She was close to a few friends and even closer to her twin sister, Sharon. Her sister, however, lived miles away in Kitui, pursuing her own education. The twins always found pure joy in the moments when school breaks allowed them to return to their mother's home in Moisbridge. They absolutely relished the time they would spend together. Mustafa was a 31-year-old carpenter and a familiar face in Moisbridge. He was very skilled in woodwork, adorning homes and businesses alike. He would get calls from Kitale, Eldoret, and all around Uasin Gishu from clients who wanted his services. Mustafa and his family were well known to Emma's family for over 20 years. Their parents had been good friends and neighbors even before their father's death. Emma's brother, who was about the same age as Mustafa, worked in the same place as Mustafa's sister. For several years, it was quite clear that Mustafa always liked Emma, one of the twins. His family lived about 3 kilometers from Emma's mother's house. He made furniture for Emma's family and was a familiar face in their homestead, always coming in to fix one thing or the other and help around the compound. No one would have known that behind the mask of creativity and hard work lay personal struggles that would unravel in the most tragic way. In August 2017, the community was shocked to learn that Mustafa had been arrested and charged in Kitale High Court with strangling to death a lady known as Nancy Narogoi. He was said to have committed the offense on July 25th of the same year in Kapkoi village in Kiminini sub-county. As they investigated this murder charge, it came to light that he had another warrant out for his arrest. He was suspected to have killed another woman 2 years prior in 2015 in Mombasa. He was arraigned in court to answer to these charges in 2017. But, surprisingly, 2 years later, now in March 2019, he was a free man, having been granted a 1 million shilling bond under unclear circumstances. He deposited a title deed of a piece of land to secure his release as his case was ongoing. The victim's family was shocked to learn that he had been released by the court without their knowledge. They struggled to understand how this had happened but found no answers. This release on bail would prove to be a fatal mistake on the side of the court when Mustafa would go ahead to do what he did just a few months after his release. When he was released on bond, he went back to Moi's Bridge. With no one keeping him in check, he saw Emma around and began pursuing her consistently, wanting to date her. His obsession with Emma would in the next few months continue to grow until it got to a point that made Emma feel very unsafe. After noticing his obsessive tendencies, she told him that she wanted nothing to do with him and did everything she could to avoid him. This rejection did not sit well with Mustafa, and he took to Facebook to express his frustration. He would then start threatening, stalking, and calling her insistently with multiple numbers. Whenever she blocked any of his numbers, he would find another line and continue harassing her. Emma even started complaining that she saw him everywhere she went. His behavior became even more concerning when he went as far as changing his Facebook name to Mustafa Makinia. Makinia, as you know, is Emma's last name. She told her friends that whenever she posted a photo, Mustafa would steal her photos and post them on his own Facebook page. This led to Emma deleting her entire Facebook page and opening a new one. In August 2019, a month before the tragic ordeal, he went to her school and waited for her by the gate. When she appeared, he approached her wanting to talk to her, but as she had consistently told him, she wanted nothing to do with him. When she refused to hear him out, he angrily snatched her phone from her hand and took off with it. She would report this harassment to her school, but unfortunately, the school took no action. Mustafa would then text male contacts on Emma's phone, threatening them and asking them to stay away from Emma. Emma was scared for her life at this point. This obsession and harassment had grown to a dangerous level. She decided to tell her mom what had been going on. Her mom, concerned, called Mustafa's mom, asking her to caution her son against harassing and stalking Emma. But she did not stop at that. She requested to talk to Mustafa himself. Mustafa came around their homestead the following day to have a talk with her mom. As any mom would do, she reprimanded him for his behavior, asking him to stay away from Emma. Right there in their compound and in Emma's presence, Mustafa asked her mom for forgiveness and vowed not to bother Emma anymore. They all thought that that would be the end of that, not knowing that the darkest chapter in this tale was yet to unfold. On September 30th, 2019, as the town went about its usual rhythm, unseen forces were set in motion, culminating in an event that would haunt Moi's Bridge for years to come. On that day, Mustafa was determined to take revenge on Emma for rejecting him. If he couldn't have her, no one could. In broad daylight, he walked into their compound, which he was very familiar with. At this time of the day, he knew that Emma's mom would be away and Emma would be all alone at home. As he had expected, he found Emma in the living room, relaxing. With a lot of rage and resentment, he immediately unleashed a wave of brutality upon Emma. Emma's life was violently taken when she was hit with a blunt object and then assaulted and strangled. Mustafa did not stop there. The next details are chilling. He dismembered Emma's body and discarded her remains in a Napier grass farm next to their home. The very home that should have been her sanctuary became the stage for unspeakable horror. Upon returning home, Emma's mother, Beatrice Luceno, walked straight into a mother's worst nightmare. She found the living room covered in blood, And upon looking around, she found her daughter's mutilated body out in the farm in a pool of blood. The horror and agony she must have experienced is just incomprehensible. News of this horrible tragedy spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves across the country. Mustafa, the only suspect, was then swiftly arrested. He was in possession of her backpack, laptop, and phone during the arrest. As the legal process rolled on, Mustafa's personal struggles painted a picture of a man wrestling with inner demons. However, the evidence against him was very overwhelming. They had in their custody one of the most sadistic killers in Kenya. Mustafa faced the consequences of his actions. Such brutality would not go unpunished. In November 2023, he was handed a sentence of 45 years in prison. Yet, as the courtroom doors closed, Emma's family, the community, and even Mustafa himself were left to grapple with the aftermath. How could rejection have led to such devastating consequences? It's unfathomable. It's a stark reminder that in matters of the heart, love should never be forced, and rejection should never be met with violence. Love should always be rooted in mutual understanding, respect, and consent. No one should ever feel entitled to possess another person or react violently when faced with rejection. The idea that someone belongs to another is not just outdated, it's very dangerous. Love should be a choice made freely, not on demand. Emma Wanyotta's tragic fate also raises a lot of crucial questions about the efficacy of our judicial system. Some questions that linger from this case include: how was Mustafa granted bail despite a history of violence, including previous murders? Why was he free to commit a third crime? I think it would be safe to say that the justice system failed Emma. After Mustafa's release on bond, his obsessive tendencies had only escalated, and this leading to the ultimate tragedy suffered by Emma. We must address the shortcomings in our legal system and call for urgent reforms to prevent future tragedies. Remember, by sharing this story, we are not just recounting a tragedy, but shedding light on the urgent need for systematic improvements. Let's ensure that Emma's story becomes a catalyst for positive change in our communities and legal institutions. That marks the end of today's case. Please tell me what your thoughts are on the comment section down below. As usual, please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share this episode with other true crime junkies like yourself. I'll see you right here on the next one. Bye-bye.